Hello, everyone. Ryan here. I'm going to show you one way that a client of ours uses the pronunciation guide super efficiently. And I'm going to use an example of this no audio demo packet. So this is just for prep work. There will be no proofing involved in this project. The original script is right here. So it's just this very short 30-page script. And this is one way to utilize the pronunciation guide. So you go to the pronunciation tab and you open the suggestions. And the concept here is to have the greatest possible accuracy as given by the decision makers with the least possible extra work involved. And so what this means is with this client, the decision makers are the project manager and the rights holder or author in this case. So the project manager is going to go through this list of suggestions, and any of these 48 that they want to for sure send to the narrator, they're going to add to the research list. So that's the first step. And using the R and the I keys are for sure the best way to do this quickly. There's only 48 words here. In a long book, it might be 400 or 500 easily, but you can really start moving quickly and you don't have to think too much. You can always change your mind later. But anything that you know as the project manager that you want the narrator to do right. So in this case, the person responsible for making the pronunciation guide is not the narrator. It is the project manager. So I'm going to go through and hit R or I for each of these 48 words. So things that I want the narrator to get right for sure. So we're going to research Rosaline, Charing, Dinah, Amiable, Oliva, Seb, Abortive, Even Free, Ribbon, Settee, Slash Fine, Alpha Sign, Antenna or Antennae, Logical, Entities, 30, Atom, Persimmon, Don't Cell, Fremor, Dog, Moniac, G, that one, no, yes, guidance just in there, Motors, Rile, Beat, Basic, no, yes, no, yes, no. So that's how quickly I went through 48 words. And again, you can imagine that you don't have to go exactly that fast, but with 400 or 500 words, you can still do that in 10 or 15 minutes and have a really good research list ready. Now, the way that this particular client works, they go return to research and they say, ignore everything in this phonetics column. We're not using any part of that. We just want to make a very clear MP3 word list. And so all they'll do is, starting at the top, go through Rosaline, Rosaline, stop and save. Charing, Charing. Dinah, Dinah. And it does look them up in Oxford, US. So if you're curious, you can always do the playback that's already there. I think I already recorded over this one, but it's amiable. So amiable. And if you want to check in Merriam-Webster, for example, that's one of the most common places that publishers want you to look. One click.
Amiable.
And you go back here. Amiable. And that's correct. Again, here's another character, Oliva. So edit word phonetics. Oliva. I did also want to mention that if Pozotron doesn't have a word in its automated suggestion list, you can always add custom words here and it puts them in the same structure. So for example, if we wanted to add annotation, you just type it in, add it, and now annotation is in there. It shows up twice, starting on page 3, and this is the playback from Oxford.
Annotation.
But if I wanted to record it, annotation, annotation, annotation. And now I've added a custom word to the list. So you can add as many custom words as you want, and it'll give you the count, the page that it starts, the return from Oxford US, and also the links over here. Additionally, if you want a different default dictionary, you can change this to Oxford GB or Forvo. Oxford US is the most common, but you can always switch to these. And you'll see when you switch dictionaries, now it gives you a chance to reset it, update the research word with the new dictionary. I imagine abortive would be the same, but oh.
Abortive.
It is different. So that's how switching dictionaries helps with the pronunciation guide as well. So you see how fast you can go through these if you're not worried about the phonetics. And after this list is complete, we'll go down here just for another example. Also, if you hover over the magnifying glass, it gives you some context. So for all of these. So is it antenna? Is it antennae? We'll go to Merriam-Webster.
Antenna.
Antenna is singular.
Antennae.
Antennae is plural. So good stuff to know. Really, really fast way to check with all of these options. So antennae, antennae, antennae. So you can make a word list that used to take many, 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 many hours in 20 minutes or a half an hour. And then what this particular client does is they share the project with the rights holder, with, I believe, research only. And that means that they can come to this research page and listen and make edits. So again, the concept is that the project manager puts this list together, records every one of the words exactly how they would make the decision, whether it's right or wrong, hearing it in the narrative, and then passes this packet along to the rights holder, who goes through and listens and makes sure all of those are correct. So it's a two-pronged concept. And then once it's been okayed and recorded by the project manager and then the rights holder, this packet gets shared online through this link to the narrator. Now, the narrator can't make any changes from here. It's just a link so that they can see the work that's been done. So I'll show you, copied here. This is a read-only, or in this case, listen-only link. So
Abortive.
amiable, antennae, antennae, antennae. There you go. So all of these things that you recorded or accepted between the project manager and the author or rights holder are now in here with playback. Again, they will just erase all the phonetics because phonetics can confuse people, so they leave all these blank. If the narrator wants to check, these links are here as well for, places in English that you'd hear this. It's a really compact, stress-free, complete way of approaching pronunciation research, is that system of people working together in the collaborative Pozotron space using this pronunciation guide tool. So I hope that helps. Everybody works through a little bit differently in this concept, but that's one that I've found to be extremely efficient, and it gets buy-in from all of the right people. If there's a separate person who's doing the proofing, they also have access to this reference while they're working through during the proofing process. And I hope that gave you all some good ideas of how to use the Pozotron pronunciation guide.